5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And it's live.
This is Leicester Till I Die TV. Watch and subscribe on YouTube and listen on your podcast platform.
Good evening, everybody. Good afternoon, good morning, and all that shit as well. How are we doing? Would you have taken a point at the weekend? Well, that's what we're going to be discussing tonight. Wherever you are in the world, thank you for joining us. You can join in the chat. I'm just going to click the button here that shows that it will come up if you join us. And like the video, subscribe as well. Also, you can do that if you're watching on catch up. And as I always say, if you're listening via your podcast platform, favourite podcast platform, thank you very much for lending us your ears. I'm joined tonight by our usual review panel of Brad and Steve. And I just want to say, guys, before I start, that John Cena, isn't he a wonderful person? And WWF, absolutely, I can't believe how sort of real and exciting it is.
Well, you've already made a mistake, Chris. It's WWE now. It's not WWF.
Yeah, he had one job.
We even told him before we came live that it's W. That doesn't matter. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, you might as well have called him John Cena or something like that. You know what I mean?
I wrote Cena down with a C, so I got that right.
Extra points for you then.
I loved watching the WWF.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. That's a World Wildlife Fund, isn't it? Have you ever seen a couple of pandas fighting?
We've got a couple of donkeys on the pitch already, so.
Well, we do. Quickly moving on. Those that know. Before we get on to the match, guys, some news announced today. It was a while coming along, but Louis Page signs his first professional contract. We've got to be happy with that, haven't we, Steve?
Yeah, well, it's been rumoured for a while. I heard that he'd signed it sort of 3 or 4 weeks ago. So it's been a while for it to come out, to be honest. But yeah, it's good to sign another sort of promising young player to a long-term professional deal. There was interest in him from Man U and Chelsea in the summer, by all accounts. And the fact he decided to stay at the club and sign with us with a potential pathway to the first team. Yeah, great. It's extra arrows to our sort of quiver, isn't it, really, having these younger lads in that are worth money going forward.
You know what I love about you, Steve? You come up with these quotes that we never use, like more arrows to our quiver. Brilliant. I'm going to say this, because this is the guy that there was rumours that he didn't want to sign a while ago. Was he waiting to see whether the likes of Man United or Chelsea came in? And as they haven't, he said, well, I might as well stay here then.
No, I think it was more of the case that he's started a couple of games. And so, he's shown that, or Marty's shown that he has faith in these younger lads and shown that, look, if you're not injured and you're ready to play, you'll play. So, yeah. That is important. I think you can sort of tick another box for Marty to say, look, he's bringing through the younger lads. Monga is playing more regularly. Page will play more regularly. It shows that if there are younger lads in the academy that aren't sure whether or not they'll get the pathway to the first team, but actually, here's the clear indication that there is a pathway and we're not going to be spending as much money going forward now for the next however long. So take your opportunity while you can. And Page is clearly done that.
Yeah. Brad, I mean, look, I love his picture there in the aircraft hangar. But I mean, it's Munger and Page that are our two current Alves is, I suppose you'd say.
And Ben Nelson.
Yeah, well,
And
yeah,
Ben.
yeah. I mean, obviously, unfortunately, for a few of our youngsters who were probably expecting when they first burst onto the scene at the youth level, this would be their season. They were probably aiming to kind of take off. Injuries as cruel as they are have happened. Still doesn't mean they don't have it there, because if Leicester have shown you anything over the Marty's short and wonderful-ish reign so far, minus that Preston blot, it's been pretty successful so far. Is you're not lost to the wilderness. There is a way back, not just back into the team for first team players that haven't been knocking on the door, but youngsters as well. And like Steve said, I saw some of the goal of the week or whatever it is they're doing at the moment on Leicester's contention thing. It was all under 21 goals. And Jake Evans is in that running. He's going to get it. And, Nelson's on the bench. He will get his opportunity. So right now, from where we were 6 months ago to where we are now with the manager we've got, you're suddenly an exciting prospect again and you're wanting to stay here. And I think that's where Page kind of went, well, okay, maybe if the right manager comes in, I will stay. And that's why we've got to a position now where we're going again. And, hey, PSR, shove it up your arse, because if we're going to start bringing them through and churning out youngsters that make regular appearances in the first team, long live the next 4 or 5 seasons, potentially.
Good evening, Wayne. How are you? Good point you've made there. And it's a point I want to say, because last week, Luke Thomas signed a new 4-year contract. Was it 4 year? Yeah, it was 4-year
deal.
Extension, wasn't it? And I had a few guys come on here saying WTF. I mean, for me, the way I look at it is we've got him now for 4 years. Even if we bring another left back in, I think he's probably going to be the main backup. But if at any point that he does go on to become our first choice left back and somebody comes in for him, we've got 4 years of saying thank you very much, it's pure profit.
Yeah, and I don't think he'll be on a lot of money. Look, I was one that said a bit like, 4 years for a player that realistically I don't think is good enough for the Premier League, and I don't think he can make the step up. That's a long contract, but as a backup player, he's not going to kick up a fuss by all accounts, and that's fine. I did make the joke at the weekend when it came on the screen that you could win his signed boots, and I was saying, can I just have the boots without the signature, because it'd be worth less with the signature. But he is a homegrown player that is pure profit if we do end up selling him.
Yeah, definitely.
It does make me wonder why we turned down $5 million in January last year for him, when that would have been pure profit back then. But look, it is what it is, and he's here now for the foreseeable. I do think he is the weaker link in the defense, but with confidence and more game time, hopefully that improves, and he turns into a steady sort of fullback rather than a meat one that we've seen previously.
Well, time will tell, but like you say, I think these days when you are offering contracts out and signing players, you have got to, at the back of your mind, think PSR.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I think the 4-year part is purely just, let's tickle boxes. If he excels, we can sell him, and if he stays, we've got a player for the next 4 years, sort of thing.
Yes, indeed. Brad, he's Marty Cifuentes, or as we like to call him, God, said this a few weeks ago. We will never be satisfied with a point. This I was not happy with the way we started the game. That goes back, say, to the Oxford, but it had to be satisfied with a point. I mean, I've got to say, I know a lot of people were critical, and I'd be interested to hear Steve's point in a second. But I thought it was a good point against a team that, I've got to say, going into it scared me a little bit.
Yeah, there is a difference between being satisfied with a point, not being satisfied with a point, and accepting a point. I think if you listen to his interview, he does really give the spread of the credit, not just to the players of Leicester, but he gives credit to Lampard and how they set
Oh,
up.
let me clip that bit.
Right. You have to include that part in it as well, where I nearly threw up on stream because it's just hard to say. I didn't give him credit, by the way. That was Cifuentes giving credit. But it's a mentality that you want in the squad because sorry, Chris, first one of the season, get it on the bingo card. I'm going to refer it to cricket. 2005 Ashes, Australia cheered a draw when they had a really superior squad than England on paper. Glenn McGrath, Shane Warne, the late great, and Hayden and all that. If you know cricket, you know what I'm on about. So I'll be brief because I bet none of you do. And that's when England knew they'd got them because psychologically they were so happy to draw it that it was like, really, you're happy to draw? You should be gutted that you didn't turn that into a win, sort of thing. And I think Marty wants that installed in his players. And you saw it with JJ, his interview after the game. He instantly came out and said, yeah, we're disappointed we didn't win that game. Obviously, we take the point and we're happy with certain aspects, but we're not satisfied enough with a point. They take the point, but their hunger is not to do, and obviously we'll talk about it throughout the show, to do what Coventry seem to do. And some of their fans have said the exact same is, they got to a point where they shut up shop. They were back down the road with a point. They were hungry to turn that into 3 points. And that's the difference between being satisfied with what you've got and taking it and gutted that you didn't get enough more out of it because you were hungry to get that 3 points regardless of the opposition.
Well, I'm going to say, it is time, Steve. First of all, mention cricket again. This is Brad and cricket.
This is my secret revenge for every time he deliberately calls me Bradley.
Yep, I'm going to now, believe you me. Sorry. You were going to say, Steve.
You're on mute, Steve. Yeah, we can't hear you.
Bloody hell, I'll come back. Sorry, I coughed. Then Brad, I actually agree with you with cricket. I love cricket. It's fantastic. Yeah, and I can't wait for the Ashes series coming up. It's sorry, Chris. It's
anyway. Welcome to the Leicester Till I Die football show, where we will be talking football.
Yeah, I've always liked Steve. He's my favourite co-presenter.
But in regards to the game, Brad, you're right, and there's a difference between elite mentality for footballers and just average mentality. And we'll get on to Steffi Mavididi at some point in regards to elite mentality, because whilst fan bases can be reactionary. If you look at I think I was satisfied with a point at the weekend, but I don't want the players to be satisfied with a point. I want them to win every single game because that's what they're set out to do. They're paid the big money, and they should want to win every single game. That doesn't always happen. Look, it's football. Anyone can beat anybody in the championship. There's a reason why it's the hardest league to get out of in world football. But for him to come out and say we're not satisfied with that, and JJ to do the same thing, and Abdul came out as well and said pretty much the same thing, that we go again. They almost felt like it was a defeat, And if you look at Mavididi on the sidelines after full time, he sort of looked like it was a defeat. When actually, I think in the long term, it's a well established point. It's a good point to have, because not losing to Coventry, who are the form side in the league, is good. But yeah, I want to win every game, but I know realistically as fans, we all want to win every game, but it's just not going to happen. But if the manager comes out and says we need to win every game, great, because that's what a manager should be like. You should be trying to encourage the players to win all the time and not be happy with a 0-0 draw where you could have won the game.
Yeah. Brad, we watched on telly, Steve. I believe you went at the weekend. So it's interesting to get the two viewpoints. I look at this and I don't consider it 2 points lost. I think, like you say, Birmingham, I was worried, but we brushed them aside. But they're first back in and they look like they're going to maybe, after the good start, struggle a little bit. But this was the game. And I think having seen Coventry put 12 goals away in 2 games and only conceding 4, that was what worried me. And yet there are still some Coventry fans out there that are a little bit not sure yet about Lampard, I discovered last week. But I'm happy with the point.
Yeah. I am. And for more than a number of reasons, which we'll get to throughout the show, that I will highlight the reasons why I'm so happy with it. You know, Chris, like you just said, right, let's look at our 3 home games we've had this season. We come up against a nothing to lose Sheffield Wednesday. Congratulations on them for the weekend. I mean, we won't talk about.
It cost me 3 points in the prediction league.
Well, I mean, Chris, I will talk to you about that.
No, don't.
No. Anyway, but we got past them. We beat them opening day of the season. Resolute Birmingham, high flying from promotion, shut out. Coventry again, the team in form, and we've conceded 1 goal in 3 home games, Chris. We've got 7 out of 9 possible points. What do we always say is the basic rule in football when it comes to your games? Make the home ground a fortress, bonus points away from home. We've got 7 out of 9 at home, and we've only conceded 1 goal. And again, like you said, that's against a team that had nothing to lose. The only team to score past us for me at home. A Birmingham team that had goals in them and we were worried could be a 2-2 or something like that. Someone predicted a 2-0. I don't know who. And then again, Coventry, like you said, 12 goals in the last 2 games would have been coming here. I was wrong, but when I was predicting Leicester to win or maybe even keep a clean sheet, I got laughed out of the building. Well, unfortunately, if Mavididi had stuck that chance away or a few others, I'd be laughing at them because I'd have got at least a point. But that just shows where we are definitely assured of ourselves. It's in that back line. We need to work on it away from home because we've conceded, 4 away from home if you take the Huddersfield game.
Yeah, the flip side of that, Brad, is that we've picked up 4 points away from home out of a possible 9, which Jason's side isn't ideal. And I think if we don't win on Friday, 11 points from 7 games doesn't look great. But if we win on Friday, 14 points from 7 games,
it turns so quick, doesn't it?
But Steve, I mean, I get your point, but how soon we forget 11 points from 7 games, I would absolutely kiss your buttocks for after last season.
Yes, but if you look at who we've played, really, we haven't had a difficult start. Take away Birmingham, but they were newly promoted, and Coventry. We lost to Preston, we drew to Oxford, which was a good point. Don't get me wrong. To come back from 10 men to draw a game is pretty good. And we beat Charlton. The start we've had, you would be hoping for more points out of that. But again, it's football. So, and I guess you also then compare it to Ipswich and Southampton and Sheffield United, who are the main, promotion candidates. And you'd say, actually, we've had a great start. But my main worry is that if we're after 7 games, we've only picked up 11 points, and then we get a 9-point deduction. That's a lot of games of the season already gone, and we're down to 2 points potentially with a 9-point deduction. So, I want as many points on the board now.
Yeah, the PSR does throw a huge spanner into whatever we say, but without the PSR, and I noticed some people are saying that they think we've got away with it because we've not heard. I'm not one of those.
No, we haven't. They usually, because the accounting period ends December. Well, for I don't know. We changed it, didn't we? But I don't know if we changed it back. But I know, most people's accounting period ends at the end of the year. So I imagine we'll hear something towards the last international break of the year, which is the end of November, beginning of December.
Isn't that when? Sorry, isn't that also when Everton got theirs?
Yeah. So So I imagine that will be the case, and we'll hear, because what they don't want to do is push it into next year, and then have that, and then potentially have 2 next year, because I don't know if we're going to pass or fail on last year's accounts yet. So it's all up in the air, but that's a conversation for a different day, isn't it? Really, but
it is. But I just wanted to make that point because Tom's in. Good evening, Tom. How you doing?
I'm not negative though. I'm actually quite positive. But again, another takeaway is that we haven't actually had, other than Saturday, where I think we played pretty well for 90 minutes. We've not had a full 90-minute performance where we've looked like the best team in the league. We were poor against Sheffield Wednesday for a large part of that first half. We lost to Preston. Okay, we were against Preston. We were piling the pressure on, and they managed to hit us on the counter for their winner. But look, I just want Friday to be the best game we've had so far this season. We come back with 3 points and everyone's happy. So
yeah, it is going to be a difficult game because West Brom are up there with us, and of course they generally are. Tom's still stood there insisting that we're not going to get anything, but we'll see, Tom. We'll see. Brad, you made the point, and a lot of people were saying in the post match when we were discussing it about we're failing to score and we've not scored again. When a new manager comes in, and we still forget that this was only Marty's 8th game in charge, right? He had no pre-season apart from one game, which he probably had not an awful lot of choice in. Andy King probably continued that with Marty talking to him. So this is, I've still, and I can't go on saying this, but at the moment I still think we're kind of in a pre-season. But any new manager coming into a team that's as shit as Leicester isn't going to be worried about, or as Leicester was, I should say, isn't going to be worried about how many goals we're scoring. He's going to be more worried about how many goals we're letting in. And let's be honest with you, that was an awful lot. The defence, if you don't keep it clean sheets, you're not going to necessarily win games. And the defence is always the first thing I think a new manager has to sort out. And I think that's what he's doing.
Yeah, he's got to build, it's like building a house. You wouldn't start with the roof and then build the structure around it. You've got to make sure that you're doing your job rightly. And yes, away from home, we have a bit of, we need to take a bit of medicine and strengthen up a bit because we're a bit weak and when we go away. But we're seeing that early doors already. He's got a good foundation. And the first thing he's got to do, Chris, is there was a lot of like swirls and black clouds over players' heads, the mentalities in the bin. And I'm kind of like that on the picture of Mavadidi on the bench looking absolutely gutted, because in one way it's good to see him react to such a thing, and it's also like, you felt a bit sorry for him because he felt the weight of the world on his shoulders for that chance as well. But that's the one thing he had to clear out, Chris. And like you said, I don't even count the Fiorentina game because the sports development side did that. That's why they engineered the game against the Belgian sister club we've got, where they turned it into 2 games, so each play could get an hour. So I think he'd have just gone, you do you. I'll use this as a chance to examine the players, if you will, and work from there. So if this is what we're at, and like Steve said, we're not having a 90-minute throughout dominating performance, we've come close. We've come close already. I think there's a few games you'd say 70-30 was in our dominance to some degree. If this is what we're achieving right now, and again, let's say Friday win, adds to that, whether it's a scrappy game or not, I would be worried to be a side of an opposition supporter come November, if we haven't got a points deduction, and even then, I think would still be spiritually going, that goes, oh Christ, we're playing full strength Leicester now. This is Leicester going under Marty full pelt. Yeah.
Moving on, because I'm watching the time. That was the starting lineup, Steve. A little bit surprised, but happy because I can't argue that I was calling for Faze to come back in. To be honest with you, it probably would have been instead of Vestergaard, but I understand why. Winks as well, and then obviously James filling in that attacking midfield role, which we know to our cost he can do. But talk to me about Faze and Winks, because these were 2 players that up to the transfer window weren't really sort of getting much of a look in, were they? But Winks was, well, apart from Valley's on 90 grand a week, he was making a difference when he came on, and he does give us something that neither Skip or Samari give us, and which is control. Surprisingly, it was Skip that dropped, but do you think now they've come and said, hey, look, you're here till January, are you going to give me all, proper, be committed to Leicester now, and that's why they're back in?
Yeah, I think that is the case. I understand why Marty wasn't going to play them up until the transfer window closing, because you don't know whether or not they're going to be here. And realistically, you want to prioritise the players that are going to be here, and that would have been Samare and Skip. But we saw against Oxford that Skip came on and changed the game, and he's the only player in that squad that I can see that can drop deep and get the ball on the pivot and release it out into more space.
Winks,
yeah, Winks, yeah. I agree that I actually know. I don't think Skip would have come in for Samari because I think they play different roles. So Samari is a technically better player than Oliver Skip, even if his brain isn't there half the time. I think he goes through an action and then forgets what he's doing, and then he realizes he's on a football pitch, and he gets confused very easily. But there were times on Saturday where they were playing some nice little 1-2s to each other, and it looked quite nice, and we were pushing forward. Wild Fast, look, I've said for a very long time, as much as I dislike him as a footballer at this club, and I don't want him here, he is our best defender. Take away anyone else, I wouldn't. There's nobody I'd put above him at this club in regards to defence. Yes, he can be a bit inconsistent, and again, he suffers from that Samare of not really thinking half the time. But there are times at the weekend where he pushed forward with the ball and he looked assured. And him and Vestergaard had a partnership 2 years ago that worked really well. So it sort of makes sense. The only change that I was a little bit sort of like, okay, was the Mavididi starting over Monga. But I sort of understand that as well, because as we'll get onto him later on down the line.
Or we will.
If you drop him after the Oxford game, his confidence is going to be on the floor anyway. If you drop him on Friday, I don't think he'll come back from that dropping. So, I think it was changes that we knew were going to come in, and we expected some of them. I was delighted to see the 4 that came in, and overall, I think that is one of our strongest teams, apart from maybe the left wing and the striker. As much as I like Ayew, and we'll talk about him as well, I just don't think he fits in the system properly. But yeah, I'm very happy with Fast and Winks coming in, because they're now here till January. So play your best players.
Well, yeah, totally 100%. Brad, carrying on with that back line, when I saw it, I'm thinking for a little bit, as much as I have been impressed with FaZe, and I said, everybody knows my thoughts on about Faz, but I said everybody that comes in now, the new managers come in, start the season, everybody starts with a clean slate, and he'd done all right when he was coming on. I said, let's give him a start. We didn't concede, and they did what they had to do.
Yeah, and the whole entire back line throughout this early part of the season has shown that whether it's been, for transfer reasons and they've only come on for a bit, that they have been committed to the idea. And again, Chris, this is something that's going to take a few more weeks still to kind of get used to. We've talked about how this man seems to, he does have a plan B and maybe even a plan C or D. I think he also has that plan in mind for what the opposition bring. Because we're used to managers, and I know you're doing this again with Kate, which I think will have a lot of impact throughout the season, because I think it will happen this season. And that is, Chris, we got to a point, especially under Enzo, where we could name the 11 with our eyes and ears closed. It wouldn't matter; we could just reel them off. Whereas I feel like Marty, even in this early stage, and again, he's the new players he's got in, the JJs, and I know he's suspended for 2 more games, but Aaron, as I will call him for the meme. I know you just for that meme I will call him that. But when he's available, he's still learning what these players bring to the team and what they'll go for. And for me, Chris, I think he looks at the opposition and what they bring. He might look at West Brom and go, I need someone who's going to be a bit more defensive. I don't need someone who bombs forward like FaZe. I'm going to put a Coley on or Nelson on. And I like JJ, but I'm going to drop him back for Samare, and I'm going to put, Ayew there, and I'm going to put the new bloke on. He might look at a totally different lineup, and it is literally tactical. And the players do that.
You're a Samare fan. We know that, I expected to see, and I suppose it was again because Ramsey wasn't there. But let's say if Ramsey's fit, do you see those 2 CDMs being Winks and James? Or do we keep James as an attacking option?
I think you've just got to try and utilise the best way they go about it. If Aaron is the best choice there, you put him in there. I know James can play in that triangle area, but if his cemented spot where he shines the best at is in the midfield, I'm looking at his tracking back work. Some of his tackles he made in that game and the Oxford game prior to that, were absolutely pivotal. We all remember the one where he got back and made a tackle on the edge of his own 6-yard box. I think you want him deeper in the position, because what you want to do, and this is where the debate could get a bit heated, I feel like that's where Winks maybe loses his spot, because the one thing, and hear me out, the one thing that Steve said that's kind of brought this on is Samari seems to be given that freer role to push up, because we know Harry Winks can turn, pivot, ping a ball, but he may decide that if JJ is going to be the one I'm chasing back, I need someone as an outlet. And he may just see Samari pushing up a bit more and think, yeah, get the ball, turn on it, JJ, knock it to Samari, we get him behind their lines.
I think this could get a little bit interesting.
I'd buy that for $1.
And I didn't mean to play that, I meant to play this. Steve, you were shaking your head with that question.
Yeah, so my big point from what you said, Brad, there is that if you drop Harry Winks, there's nobody in this team that can play that pivot role. I don't think JJ can play it as well as Harry Winks can. And clearly, Marty is tied to a system where he wants to play the ball out from the back and have those triangles. And Samari is not. We've seen in the first 6 games that Samari cannot do that role, but Oliver Skipp can't do that role, and I don't think JJ can. If there's a changing, if there's a changing of anybody, it will be Samari dropping out, but Ramsey coming in, because Ramsey likes to play in that attacking midfield role, and he's young and energetic. Harry Winks is the player that's going to turn on the ball and be the pivot in that midfield for the defense. And JJ is the engine, the KDH role effectively of that midfield from a couple of years ago, where he can get up and down the pitch and he has the engine. Samari isn't. I've never seen Samari play higher up the pitch in a sort of high cam position. He screams a bit of Wilfred Ndidi, but worse for me in that position, because I don't think he's got the technical ability to be able to score goals. He hasn't really set up many goals with the assists as of yet. And again, the issue with him is that if he thinks for longer than 4 or 5 seconds, he forgets where he is. We saw him against Sheffield Wednesday where he came sprinting back and got the ball, and we were like, oh my God, great. And then the next step, he stopped running and they got the ball again. And you're like, what? Just finish it off, mate. What are you playing at? So, I just don't think that as much as he likes Samari, because you can tell, he is that sort of more progressive number 6 that can lead to a number 8. But I just don't think he's interested, Samari itself, because he's going to be gone at the end of the season anyway.
Do you then, if Ramsey is fit, let's say, and Ramsey goes into that 3 behind the striker, do you think that it's Samari that's dropped and James and Winks together? Yeah,
because James has already proven that he's the last couple of games he came on sub and Saturday, he's been outstanding. He's that guy that will run up and down the pitch. And again, Harry, I think that those two, Winks and JJ in midfield for me, fills me with way more confidence going forward in the season than having Samari next to Harry Winks or somebody else next to Harry Winks.
No, I get where you're coming from. I just want to go back because Brad said about Kate's thing, and Kate does put a team together for us on Friday, and this was her team, and she'd actually got, and it's back to front, but that's just the way that the app works. She's actually got Carranza up front and Ayew dropping behind, which is how we ended the game, Steve, in a way. Yeah. Again, is that just letting Carranza bed in, do you think? Because when he came on, he looked absolutely up for it, didn't he?
Yeah, so I had this conversation with Kate yesterday on Lox's channel that when Carranza came on, he was the focal point of the team, and we haven't had that for a while, at all this season, actually, if realistically. With Ayew dropping so deep for the entirety of the game, and pushing out to the wing. At one point, he was at right back, and we were like breaking on the counter, and you're like, "What's going on?" Whereas Carranza was in the box. He shows that he's got that striker instinct by sort of trying to play the lines as well. So I think Carranza will end up starting at some point. It's just whether or not Jordan Ayew drops back into that cam position, which I think he plays pretty well, or helps out the team entirely. I just can't see us getting promoted with Jordan Ayew up front. So please give me the good-looking Carranza up front. Me and Kate agree on that. Like he's the best-looking guy in this league. You've got to start him.
Yes, I agree. But then, as you'll see later on, I think we need to put Ayew in there somewhere. And I have to say, we were talking about assists before. As the things stand at the moment, the stats stand at the moment, our top assist player is actually still Bilal Al-Khanous. So we haven't.
Exactly. Yeah, it's not ideal, is it? But we have had a Cam that's got sent off after 24 minutes. So. Yeah, you know.
in fairness, you were right. Right, Brad. Now these were the subs, and again, now he only made 4 subs. He didn't do his whole 5. Do you think he should have made another one? No, he has made 5.
Yeah, I was going to say, can you not count, Chris? I mean,
I can't count. I was looking earlier, and I got 4 in my brain, and it stayed there. Look, I'm an old man. Bear with me. I've left. I think this is the wrong one. To be honest with you. I think this is last week's, actually.
I was going to say, I'm very confused here because I don't think...
Yeah, you've made it right. I tell you what, he has one job, folks. One job, and he can't even... Oh, God.
And it's a bigger job.
That's even more confusing because Carranza didn't come on last week. So...
I know, that was amazing how you managed to do that one. Jesus Christ.
All right. It's obviously a pick on me night tonight. Let me go, and I will take 2 seconds. Talk to me about his subs, though, Brad, because he did only make 4.
Well, according to that, he made 5, so I don't know.
Oh, there you go. Look, he made 4.
There you go. Look, to be honest with you, we're at a position where the subs are getting a bit more not predictable, but they're going to start becoming a lot more obvious on who's going to come on, because there was no need really to make a centre-back change in. So a Coley wasn't going to come on. Chowdhury makes sense because he is our our subpar right-back replacement for Ricardo, who me and Steve are rightly saying he's managing him well by giving him, and Kate, may I add, she made the point as well that she'd rather see him play 60, 70 minutes than have him play 90 and get killed off like you want to do to him, Chris.
I want him to start.
Yeah, but you want to play 90 minutes for his wages. I was there, Chris. I was there.
No. I want Ricardo to play 70 minutes of a game and maybe Hamza to come on. I still think Hamza... I want him as a central defensive midfielder, but that's another show. Yeah. But when you're on 90 grand a week, you should be playing the majority of the game, and then Hamza come on for the last 20.
Yeah, which I'm sure he will. Which again, it's going to be more because we are a bit watered down in them areas. I know Christensen's been back training, but I think Marty knows his left and his right, unlike our previous managers. So he won't put a left back playing right back. I mean, he might surprise us. He might do eventually.
We'll tip that, Brad.
Yeah. But again, the changes were probably what I expected to see. You had to give Carranza 15 minutes to come on. He was unlucky with that header. I think if it had been a bit more whipped in than it was floated, he could have powered the header where it was in. Daka's going to come on, and I would make that argument to bypass Ayew in the number 10 role and use Daka in that role as an off-the-bench player, because he does seem to like him to do that with 20 minutes to go. And Monga was another injection of pace, because, again, the middle... You didn't need tampering with it. It was doing a good job. We were 0-0, so nothing was going wrong at the back. It weren't like Coventry were, throwing everything at us. I think the substitutions were pretty good. Yes, there was a few that you kind of go, oh, well, we're getting used to these subs, but they were good choices.
Steve, Tom says here, I don't see why we dropped Hamza when he was fine. Ricky comes off bench, Lath managed, and he got 2 in 2. Let me reply to you on that and then get your point on it, Steve. Tom, James Justin got 2 in 1 against Arsenal last year, but I would not have played him at right back the rest of the season. He was just shit in that position. Not saying Hamza is shit, but Hamza is not a natural right back. He can play that role, and he can play that role very well, but it's not his first position. Like I say, I'd like to see him in other parts. Surely you play your best players at the start. Because there's no point bringing Ricky on every time when we're 1-0 down or 2-1 down, because he's not always going to dig us out the mire. You start with your best players, and Ricardo, no disrespect to Hamza, in that position, Steve, is the best player.
Yeah, and you saw as soon as Ricardo went off on Saturday, the quality in that department dropped significantly. Hamza gave the ball away 3 or 4 times and it almost led to a goal at one point. Same with Abdul as well. So yeah, you need to start Ricardo because he can push into that midfield role better than Hamza can, and technically he's a much better right back. That's his natural position. So you start your best players. I agree that it makes sense that he came off after 70 minutes because he's still coming back from an injury, and what we don't want to do is set him back 3 or 4 weeks and then we have Hamza in full time and be a bit weaker down that side. So yeah, you need to play your best players, and if that means that Ricardo starts for 60 minutes, then he starts for 60 minutes because we looked a lot better side with Ricardo in that team than we do over Hamza.
We will agree to disagree, Tom. You're still arguing the point. You are entitled to your opinion.
But also you have to remember that it's different with Coventry than it is against Oxford and whoever the week before, Charlton or whoever it was the time before that. Coventry are a better side, so you must play your players that are better in those positions because they've got good wingers, Coventry. And if you played Hamza against those wingers from the start, we would have been cut up, quite easily because he's just not. I think the problem with Hamza is that occasionally he does that Samari thing where we've got a lot of players that don't really think sometimes. They lunge in and make silly choices, and you're like, why did you do that? And he's like, oh shit, I'm a right back. What happened there? Sort of thing.
Yeah.
Hamza falls foul to that sometimes as well.
I want to twist that over though, Brad, because a lot of the time when I was watching it, look, I'm watching it on the TV, so I'm not getting the view of being in the stadium. I accept that. But quite often, because Ricardo was going forward, there was times when they had the freedom of the park in that sort of right back position coming forward. And, you're looking at Faze and Vestergaard thinking, oh my God. I'm just wondering, is like, whether his legs have gone or what have you, but we were leaving big gaps down that side.
Yeah, and when you've got two players that are polar opposites to each other in what they do in that position, you get a risk equals reward. With Chowdhury, you've got a more defensive right back, but it means you can't exploit going forward as much. And I'm going to go out on a whim here and say that first 20-odd minutes of the first half, because we had Ricardo going forward and more up the field, allow Fatawu to absolutely have their left-back's pants down for 25, 30 minutes.
Hang on to that thought, Brad. I don't want to say that you're wrong, but hang on to that thought for a slide that is coming up.
Chris, just really quickly, can I just come back to your point, Chris, in regards to the Ricardo was pushing up the field? Then that's the job of the CDM on that side of the pitch to do the defensive work for him. And the CDM on that side of the pitch was Boubacar Samare. So, that's my issue. Like, yes, we were wide open, but that's because the CDM wasn't dropping back into that position to cover him. So, I don't hate Samare, I just want to say, but,
Yeah. No. And it's a good point. It's a good point, one that I haven't considered, and I will consider myself chastised on that point, but it is a good point. This was the match summary. Now, the strengths, it's interesting to see because we actually did get a Coventry fan on this week on the preview, and I've got to say he was a very nice Coventry fan. He wasn't one of these sort of, that think they're the best thing since sliced bread, because Leicester's that. And we had a pretty much, we showed each other, some respect. Even though he said this is the best he's felt going into play Leicester for a long, long time. And he wasn't a youngster. He was sort of, probably a bit younger than me. But when you look at that, team has no significant strengths for Coventry. Maybe I should send him this. But let's look at Leicester. We were effective at creating goal-scoring opportunities from long shot situations, but we were poor at finishing. I think they've got it probably spot on this week, haven't they?
Yeah, I mean, you are going to be poor at finishing if your most of your attempts are from outside the box from long distance, because apart from the JJ one where it got tipped round the post, which was going in, we didn't really trouble him from long distance. He just made a couple of simple saves. So yeah, it is you can say both of them are correct.
And our styles, we attacked down the right side and favoured short passing. I have to say, sometimes, for the last couple of games as well, we've looked like primetime Barcelona. We actually, one of the criticisms, Steve, that I had under our friend Rude was that we couldn't pass win, let alone a ball. We didn't know what colour our team were playing in, because half the time we gave it away. But this team, they have suddenly learned how to find the teammates and how to move off the ball and move the ball forward.
Yes, just not quickly enough, unfortunately. My main issue at the weekend is that we held on to it so much when we passed the ball out from the box, which was fine. It is a bit BTEC Maresca when it comes to passing the ball out from the box. But then when you got three of the defenders, the pressing midfielders, we kept hold of it still. So yes, whilst the short passing was good, and we played a few 1-2s that worked really well and it gave us space, you then need to transition that into actually making chances at the other end, which we really struggled with. But no, I agree. It's good to see some confident passing, because Skip and Samare against Oxford trying to play out from the back was nightmarish with a Cody next to him. I still have nightmares about it now, but just constantly giving the ball back to him, going, here you go, have another chance, we don't mind. Whereas on Saturday, we looked a lot better with the ball at our feet.
Yeah, and as you can see there, I mean, it was almost like two teams cancelling each other out. And when you look at that percentage of where the ball was played, 33 in our end, 31 in theirs, and 37 in the midfield. I'm telling you what you can see there. Brad, what was it you said the first 20 minutes?
Yeah, this is where me stats going to go. Yeah, see, I think that was balls. That's balls. It's a bit like the Oxford one. It don't make sense to me, because I just remember I was watching it. I wasn't, if anyone from my workplace, I was getting on with my due diligence at work. But the first half, I remember sitting there, definitely watching the game at home, not at work, and thinking, my God.
Anything else of you, Brad?
I know. And I was thinking there, and a few Coventry fans have actually come out and praised Fatu and how good he looks. I thought he's got him on toast. He's having him for breakfast, dinner and tea. I'm surprised he managed to see the 45 out. I know he came off later on in the game. I'm pretty sure he did. But I'm surprised he saw that long out, because he was absolutely getting crucified. I mean, the bloke was ringing up the job centre because he was unemployed. The way Fatu was tearing him down, he was that good. So I don't understand. And again, we said this about the graphic at Oxford. I just think someone just goes, "Oh shit, we didn't do the graphic. Coventry, Leicester, Coventry, Leicester. Yeah, we'll send that. I'll do it. Looks right, doesn't it? Yeah, sure, whatever." No one's going to question that, because this doesn't make sense to what I saw as a game of football.
Well, we watched the same game, Brad, didn't we? But I've got noted down here, and I've got this down at 16 minutes. Only one team in it, and that's Coventry.
Well, I think you need to go to fucking Specsavers then.
So I would say that they started both halves better than we did, but we, as soon as the first sort of 5 or so minutes, they faded and we took control of the game. So the momentum does make sense in the very beginning of the halves. I don't think it ebbed and flowed like that from where I was standing.
I mean, at half time there, yes, they came out after the whistle and very much had a go at us. But the first bit there, at the start of the first half, we had a corner after 50 seconds. It's like
the worst corners I've ever seen.
Well, I wasn't saying that it was a good corner. I just said we had a corner, Another point that, let me bring this up with you then, Steve, because it's something that Tom's mentioned in the chat, and I agree with Tom on this one, that the best corner taker we have is Ayew.
Yeah, it is, but the problem with that is that then he's not in the box making a nuisance of himself. I mean, to be fair, he wasn't in the box that often anyway, but, for a corner, you'd expect him to be there. JJ's... the two that he had were awful, Thomas was decent, like Luke Thomas does put in a decent ball, and I wouldn't want our striker to take it. It's like Harry Kane at the World Cup, isn't it, or the Euro? Sorry, where he was taking it, and you're like, just get in the box. That's what you're there for.
Yes, I agree, but there's no point Ayew being in the box if the ball never bloody comes to him.
No, exactly. Yeah, but I don't think we've been good at corners for a very long time. I can't remember the last time we scored from. Oh no, I guess we scored 2 against Sheffield Wednesday from a corner, but I just don't really think that whenever we get a corner, I'm like, okay, it'll be a goal kick. Don't worry about it.
And I agree about some of the corners, but I learned something on Saturday, which is, at my age, I'm, still learning. I didn't realise that we actually had a set piece coach. Now, apparently, he was somebody that came in with Steve Cooper.
Oh, no, he's left now.
Sorry?
He's not there anymore.
Well, it showed on the match. It did show somebody sat next to Marty.
No, that's the guy Rude brought in. He's the only one left from Rude's backroom stuff.
Is it Rude? Somebody said Steve Cooper. So, no, okay. So it came in with Rude. I didn't know we'd got a set-piece coach, but suddenly... Yeah, we do a corner that goes across the ground. We get free kick that goes across the ground. It's nice to see trying different things. All right, either of them didn't come off, but it just kind of mixes it up a little bit, doesn't it?
I think it's a good excuse for the lads to come out and say, yeah, it was part of the set piece routine for us to do awful corners and free kicks.
Oh, Steve, give them some credit.
I mean, you look at the Oxford game where Luke Thomas had a free kick in the middle of the pitch. Now they're about 25 yards, 30 yards out. And rather than putting it to a player, he chipped it through, it went out for a goal kick. And you're like, we've worked hard on, in training for that one, that's for sure.
Yeah. The other thing before I'll go on to the next slide with you, Brad, but the last one on this one is look at that expected goals, 1.22. That's almost on the borderline of having an orgasm, isn't it? We've never been that high in I don't think how long. And then, you've got that's maybe because I'm on my own these days. But you've got Coventry's XG as 0.41, and that's a team, like I said, that got 12 in 2 games.
Yeah, and again, it's so funny how a particular thing can happen in a game, like a goal can change it, because I just wonder our opinion on this result had we and Mavidi scored that chance and we nicked it 1-0, because Chris, I saw a lot of disappointed Leicester fans for a various number of reasons. Obviously, M69 derby was one thing. You want to always win your local derbies. I mean, it's a massive derby because it's named after a motorway. We all know that. But also, Chris, trying to kind of look at it from a neutral's point of view or looking at it objectively, I was actually quite disappointed in Coventry because I felt that they literally did, after a certain point, go, we'll take the point, thanks, and had no interest in winning the game. I thought we scared them, if anything. And it may not seem like that because we didn't get clear-cut chances, but I remember, and maybe this is the only part of the graph that, to me, looks more realistic in the game, that big block of blue, Chris, was where Frank Lampard went, no, defensive time. And I just wonder if that's maybe why Coventry fans aren't all enamoured with Frank Lampard, because, as you said in that first 16 minutes, you felt only one team and it was Coventry. I think a lot of Coventry fans during the majority of that second half were going, there's only one team going for it, and it certainly isn't us.
Yeah. And that last sort of blob of Coventry at the end there was very much us giving the ball back to them in attacking positions. Abdul did it and Hamza did it at one point. And that was in that sort of block there. So, yeah, we were almost the shooting ourselves in the foot, really.
I was going to say as well, I actually learned 2 things on Saturday.
Really, it's a learning spree here.
Maybe I should have paid more attention at school, but football wasn't a topic then, I always classed this as an East Midlands derby, but Coventry is actually in the metropolitan borough of the West Midlands. Mm-hmm. I never knew. I always classed this as
the majority of Coventry apart from my mother, because she's a Cov fan, I have to say that most of Coventry is so inbred that they actually merge back into the East Midlands. So that's why we class it as an East Midlands.
I mean, you saw my tweet at the weekend where I took a picture of the away end and said it's funny how one family line can make so many married couples.
Yes, I love that. I love that. I did that. I give that a heart. Steve, look, here we go. Shots. Let's have a look. 17 to us, 11 to them. 14 from open play. No goals, unfortunately. But you're not going to get goals if you're not having shots. And again, this is something that Marty has changed. And if everybody wants to know, Brad's just gone for a piss, by the way. I know he tried to quietly, but I just thought...
He called it.
Yeah, I'll announce it for everybody. We'll time him. How long is he going to take, I wonder? But if you're not having shots, you're not going to score. Wherever, then we'll come on to exactly where they were from and what have you. But again, something we weren't doing, and this is still 80% Rude's team when you look at it, playing in the same positions, etc. It's fantastic to have. All right, we didn't get the goal. That would have been nice. But 17 shots, we would have died for that last season.
Yeah, I mean, gone are the days where we went 9 games without, scoring a goal. So I know we didn't get one at the weekend, but it felt like we were on top to get a goal. And I think last season, I don't want to think about it as much as I have done, to be honest. I want to put it in a box somewhere and just leave it. And then in 15 years' time, talk to a therapist about how depressed it made. But yeah, 17 shots. A lot of them were outside the box. Didn't really test the keeper, really. But it shows that there's a progression there and a team that is gelling, and then hopefully that will lead to us spanking somebody at some point.
Yes, yeah, and somebody said again on Saturday in the watch along, you can't compare this season to last season, because last season we were playing Premier League teams. This year we're playing Championship teams. Yeah. And I kind of get what he means, but that's all we've got to compare it against. You compare it against the last thing that you did, which was, I say, for us was being in the Premier League. So, Brad is.
I guess you'd compare it to the Enzo Maresca Championship season, where we struggled to take shots in those games as well. I know we won quite a lot of games, but realistically, there wasn't many shots in games. Well, it felt like at times there wasn't many shots in those sort of games. We kept hold of the ball, and this is a bit of a style like that, but we are a bit more attacking on the wings. We just need a central figure now to be in the box to have something to aim to, rather than him being at right back or in goal. I'd be worried if he ever came out wearing a pair of gloves. Jacob should be worried. I'm good.
Did you enjoy your piss, Brad?
I did. It was quite a relief. And just quickly to add on what I could hear, because I live in a flat, so my toilet's not too far away, so I could hear what you're saying. I think it's more of a change in mentality as well, because not just the Rude, but also the Enzo thing. Enzo, you watch his Chelsea side. I mean, Robert Sanchez, just because Onana's gone online doesn't mean you have to become the catastrophe of a goalkeeper, but walk the ball in. We were quoted under Enzo at some point, so it was like trying to watch Arsenal under Wenger walking the ball in the net. I feel like Marty's kind of gone, I'm not going to scold you for shooting. I'm not. If you feel you're in a good enough position to have a clear shot at goal, I'm gonna back you to do it. And as long as you don't put it into Rose Ed and turn into prime Akinbaye, keep going for it. What I mean? I think that's something we're seeing more this season, that kind of bypasses the last 2 seasons that we've kind of not seen this a lot of.
Well, here we go. Shall we have a look at where our shots came from? That surprised me, I have to say. Steve, 6% in the box, 53% in the penalty box, 41% outside. But again, look, I can remember us not actually ever getting into those positions to have a shot. At least we're having them. And, there was... And I thought, look, let's talk Carranza. Because when he came on, like I say, within a couple of minutes, he'd had a couple of efforts. And I think he's going to be a good signing.
Yeah, I think he was unlucky not to. Well, to be fair, the header itself, it was straight at the goalkeeper, but it's very difficult to put power into your neck in those sort of when it's floated over anyway. If that ball was drilled over and he was heading it, I think it would have been a goal. But he does look like a striker that can lead the line. He has that striker instinct where he was turning on defenders and trying to get the through ball at times, but also he dropped deep and did a few good passes with value. So I'm excited to actually see him start a game. I think he will again. I think he starts against Wrexham, to be honest. I think we carry on RU on Friday, but because the Wrexham game's so soon afterwards, I think we see him against Wrexham, which would be nice to see him against old Connor Cody.
I was just about to say, I would love it if they told the new signing, start against Wrexham, you bullet header past him, just go past him, show him a clip of Jamie Vardy's shithouse and say, you score, him, do that too. And just have him go past him like that. Because
I think I can honestly say that we all think
I will love it if we beat them. Love it.
Oh yeah. I'd love it if we battered them. I will happily lose against Swansea or West Brom if we batter Wrexham on Tuesday.
Yeah, and hey, isn't it funny that unfortunately Danny Ward's injured?
Yeah, that is a shame because it would have been nice to have him come back and put some of the performances for us.
If we big it up enough, we might get it turned into we might outdo Palace and Brighton for the weirdest derby because we'll have the Connor Cody derby coming.
Well, I guess actually the next derby for us should be the Morecambe squad because they've got half their players are ex-Leicester players at Morecambe.
Yeah, that's true. Musquay scored for them, didn't he? He did. He scored for them in the weekend.
Was that Newport, did you say?
No, Morecambe. So their new manager is one of our old youth team coaches. And they've signed like 6 or 7 old Leicester players that are in the academy.
Yeah.
Ah, right.
Then I suppose Forest Green with Robbie Savage being their manager.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's Brad, there's the attack sides and the shot directions that were coming in. It does worry me for a few weeks now. That left-hand side, the Mavadidi side, if we want to call it that, is it's hardly there, is it?
It is hardly there, but it was obvious as to why in that game because, like I said, Fatawu had him on toast. It was almost like a spell of period of pressure where you almost started getting to the point where when we didn't score, we were thinking, this is going to be the opportunity. Let's not let it go. Obviously, we did have chances afterwards, which we should have maybe taken. But I wasn't surprised, Chris. We know they like to double up on Mavadidi. And I think they tried to double up on Fatawu. He's just so damn quick they can't. And, you have your areas of weaknesses and strengths. They obviously felt, you look at Coventry's, they didn't really try and go through our middle because they probably felt they were hitting the brick wall, but they felt they had a chance to get in behind Ricardo and Luke Thomas as they pushed up. So whilst it may seem concerning in some ways, it does make sense, especially the amount of times he'd knocked the ball on 10 yards and beat the left back to the ball. We were always going to prefer that side to them, maybe until Monga came on, because I feel like
3 players on 1 Leicester player? I don't know. Can I just say, by the way, I was on a sidetrack here. I forgot I did want to say this. What the fuck were you wearing, Coventry? I mean...
Yeah, they look like... I know they've got the sponsor Monzo, but they look like the Monzo card. I think that's what... They look
like flamingos to me.
Yeah. I thought he said they really liked it, and I was like, have you been dropped on your head at birth? Because that's an awful...
Yes. It was. It's not the one thing or the other. If you're going to go pink... do what we've done, go pink, and everybody knows I love that top. Or if you're going to go, what the other end? I mean, it's just nothing. It's like orange. It's not even orangey gold. It's just like a slate, like I say, flamingo colour, as I would call it. Steve, let me ask you this, because Tom's mentioned this a few times about putting Faze into midfield. Oh, Tom, Steve's not liking your ideas tonight.
The issue with Som, not with Tom, sorry, or Som. The issue with Fast is that he's not technically good enough to play as a midfielder because in that position you need to push up and down the pitch pretty quickly, and he just unfortunately, he'll be worse than Samari, and I don't know how worse Samari. For me, Samari can't get any worse. So he's definitely not a midfielder. He's a central defender at best, and he's sideshow Bob at worst. So I can't see him in midfield. I don't think it'd work. It's too chaotic.
Exactly. Okay. Look, 1:15. I want to do the ratings. This is going to be really interesting. But before that, do either of you guys want to jump in with any tactic talk at all about things you saw at the weekend? Got a couple of minutes each.
I mean, I like the enthusiasm to really exploit the wingers and give them support, because I would say this was the first game this season that Leicester had a brighter start. Once the game settled down in that first 10 minutes, I think we had the brighter start and controlled the game. And I think we saw again, Marty goes opposition to opposition. It's not just roll the same 11 out, the same formation with the same plan. This is what they're going to do. This is how we counteract it. And one thing I did like is when we were off the ball, we went a flat four in midfield, 4 at defence. Went, well, come on then. We know you're going to try and do to us what Birmingham tried to do, and look how well that worked for them. It didn't work at all. So if you're going to try the same, we're going to use the gaps, and that's maybe when you need to see the plan B without visibly seeing changes in terms of, i.e., the lineup or the shape. There is plan Bs there in action. I just like that, but realistically, fairly solid performance and tactics by Marty.
So there was you can't see it on the TV screens because it was out for a corner, so I think they'll focus on there. But there was 4 times in that first half where, when we had a corner, Jakob was going across to Marty to get instructions, and Marty was going apoplectic at certain players because we weren't quick enough releasing the ball. And I think we'll see a change on Friday in regards to how quick we release the ball, because the fans got very frustrated because we'd get the ball from the goalkeeper would have the ball in his hands. And rather than hitting the wingers like we would usually do with Abdul and Mavididi, who are out there already, we passed it out to the defenders, and then that invited more pressure on. So I think we're going to see a lot more of a direct approach coming up on Friday. We saw it a little bit more in the second half. But, yeah, my main issue is that we seem to be really slow at releasing. It's almost like they get the Coventry players would then get back into position, and then we try again. And you're like, guys, they're out of position. They're out of sorts. Hit them now. So I think we'll see a lot more of that, because he was getting very angry on the sidelines from what I could say.
Recycling it as well. Sorry, just add one point. One thing I did notice, the murmurs have gone when we recycled it against Coventry, i.e. going back to Faze or Vestergaard, because we were higher up the pitch. I felt we didn't feel the absolute need to always go back to Jakob and sit deep. That was a good thing as well.
I will also say that out of all the players in that defence, the sort of passing around out the back, the one player that I'm always really worried about is Luke Thomas, because he seems to panic on the ball when they pass it to him. And there are a couple of times where he sort of hit it up the line and it got to one of our players, but it was sort of like, oh, he just managed to get to one of our players. I think if you're going to play out from the back, Thomas needs to be a lot more confident, because otherwise we're just going to get hit on the counter, and or the ball's going to come out of Thomas, and then it will lead to more.
Does that open the door for Christensen, who we saw last season, has that confidence?
Yes, because Christensen can play with both feet, whereas Thomas has only got 1 foot. So
you say he plays with both feet. I was one of an advocate for what did I call it? Redemption FC last season. He can play with both feet. Not always great with them, but
he's
got 2 feet that he uses. Doesn't mean that he's any good with them. It just
it's better to have 1 good foot than 2 just about okay feet.
True. That's maybe one thing we will see in these next run of games, especially with, we know what happens in the Championship for a blockade. You go Tuesday, Saturday, you might see that. And again, West Brom, sturdier, Wrexham, floodgates, maybe that's where you want to express Christensen down that left-hand side.
And the odd Friday thrown in as well, which isn't bad, as we're playing midweek next week. So actually the Friday kickoff isn't too bad. That was talking tactics, and we're going to be talking player ratings straight after this.
Hello, Matt Elliott here.
Hi, Alan Smith here.
Hey guys, Ian Hume here.
Hi everybody, Jerry Taggart here.
Be sure to watch
Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV
for all the latest Leicester City news and information.
You can also subscribe on YouTube and various social media channels.
for the latest updates and news on Leicester City Football Club.
Come on, you foxes!
And if you don't like and subscribe, I'm going to send Jerry round. Okay, just be warned. Just be warned. Right, guys, let's get on with this. This is my favourite part of the show. Brad usually has his heart attack, and even Steve was getting a little bit upset last week when we were checking this. But here we go. And Steve, I'm going to go with you first this week because I started first with Brad last week. Jakub, what are you giving Jakub?
A 7. I think he was steady. I don't think he was awful. His distribution was better, but I do think he held on to the ball a bit too much. Going on my last point, so a steady 7. He was okay.
7. Brad?
Didn't have a lot to do, but keeps a clean sheet. I think he's more reassuring than a certain Madsen is from collecting crosses. I'm just pointing that out. West Ham fans, thank you very much for the 18 million. Not you personally, but your club for that money. Thanks very much. I'm going to give him a 7 though, Chris, because just because he didn't have a great deal to do, which is a great thing as a former keeper myself. You don't like to.
Jordan, really?
I know.
Honestly. I don't know if you know this, Steve. Brad used to be a goalkeeper. He keeps it very quiet.
I get shy. I don't like to mention it.
One thing you're not bloody shy, I tell you. Well, Jordan, he said, confident display from the goalkeeper after his error at Oxford, with a good save to stop Rudini. It's encouraging that he's getting better in the build-up play and doesn't look as awkward. And he got a 6 from Jordan. Wait,
this is what does me with Steve, with Jordan, Steve, is he'll give all this praise and then, all right, I'm not going to begrudge him too much, just a 6. And then sometimes he'll rip the piss out of someone and say one good thing and he get an 8. This is the headache I have with him. Oh, sorry, continue.
Oh, well, can I continue?
Yeah, no, you can't actually.
Right, Ricardo. Steve, nice to see him start.
Yeah, I can't give 0.5s though. It's really annoying. So
I know. I know.
I would give him I'm thinking about it. I'll probably give him a 7 as well. He's closer to an 8 for me, but I still think a 7 is fair. I think he was sure in defence. He linked up well with the attack. I just want a full 90 minutes out of him to see what his fitness actually is like. But overall, fairly steady.
Yeah, I mean, I can't see him playing West Brom and Wrexham, to be honest with you. Even I, as a Ricardo fan, I think they are too close together for him. Look, you can point at me all you want, Brad. When Jordan starts giving half points, I will give half points, okay? The only person allowed to give half points here is me, so just remember that. So we've got a 7 off Steve for Ricardo.
Yeah, I mean, this was probably the more assured game for Ricardo because the few times we have seen this season, he's been, propelled off the bench and he's been told, get the goal, get up there, help us get the goal, which, inevitably he's gone and got in the few games where he's come on later and been thrown forward a bit more. This game was more of a test of his all-round. Can he bomb up and down that line for 70, 80 minutes before he needs to maybe then consider taking off and just kept to the side? It will be interesting to see where's Marty's thinking, if he starts him or does he go to exploit for Wrexham. We'll find out in a few days' time, obviously. But I was happy with the performance. Very stellar. I've got to give it a 7.
7. Well, Jordan says, dealt with Brandon Thomas Asante well, but didn't get forward as much as at Oxford. Some well-timed challenges at crucial periods, and he gets a 6 again. You may notice something else.
You notice in a pattern, Steve. You know, it's in a fucking pattern here.
There'll be another pattern coming forward.
I'm looking forward to Mavadidi's one being, he's really, really poor, 9.
Yeah, he could do that though, Steve.
Yeah.
That's the man.
Don't you jest, Steve. Don't you jest. Right. Next up, look, it's the man with the hair, everybody's favourite Hair Bear Bunch character, Wout Faes, Steve.
Yeah, again, there's going to be a theme with this one tonight for me, but I give him a 7. He was steady in defence. We didn't look like we were going to concede, really, because he's not played much football. You know, he played the full 90, and he's still our best defender. So overall, yeah, 7 again.
7. Brad?
Look, you know, I feel a bit sorry for Coley getting dropped. I know he wasn't our best defender out of the back line against Oxford, but Faes comes in, clean slate, played well, clean sheet. I'm considering the force that Coventry was supposed to bring at our back line. I was expecting 20, 30 shots by them, and Wout Faes just throwing himself everywhere trying to stop it. Solid game. I'm gonna give him. I'm going to give him an 8, Chris, because a clean sheet and a solid performance. I don't think he gave them much opportunity to do anything.
Oh, well. That's hot. Yes.
Oh, my God.
Wout Faes, says Jordan, didn't show any signs of rustiness in his first start in the league. Progressed the ball well when needed. Made some crucial tackles to keep the pressure on Coventry. Look, it's fun. I know we're down to 10 men when we conceded the second, but he comes in, like you say, clean sheet. I think he starts against Wrexham. But Jordan, give him a 6.
Okay. And it starts. He was really good. He did well, and he played with no rustiness. 6.
Well, let me guess. You might go 7. I don't know why, Steve. That's just coming to my mind here. But Vestergaard.
Yep, 7 for this one as well. It won't be for everybody. But
is your name Jordan? Sorry, Elm. Is your name Jordan?
How dare you? I'm leaving. Yeah, again, solid in defence. He's that calm sort of leader that we have in that central back position. Good on the ball. Set up a few sort of chances with Winks and the pivot. So. 7 again. I think he was fairly steady.
Yeah, wouldn't argue with that, Brad.
Again, maybe because he's found his level, but it feels like we're on the tape from 2 seasons ago in the Championship. Vestergaard, very assured. You need a voice in your back line, and I know I'm an advocate for goalkeepers to be captains because of the vision that you actually get. But a backline leader like a Morgan, a Hoof, an Elliott, a Taggart, you need it there on the pitch. Just thought I'd throw out some names there. Vestergaard seems to give that. He seems to have that. And I try and do this as often unless there's a really standout moment for one of them. I go match the centre-back pairings because you can't have a really good performance from one without a good performance from the other. It's an 8 for me.
It's an 8. Well, shall we see what Jordan says?
Oh, here he comes. The best defender by a mile, 2.
Good on the ball once again and showed his physical ability from Coventry's long throws. Won nearly all of his aerial duels and showed why he's Cifuentes' number 1 defender. 6.
Yeah, bog standard Jordan Nees, mate.
Now you see, Steve, why I called you Jordan. 777. Although I've got to say, I think Jordan is coming in and he's called himself Prashant because Prashant's gone for 6 for the last couple as well. Oh, I'm dreading this one, Steve. Thomas.
6 for me. I think out of all the defenders, he was the least confident. He dealt with the attackers pretty well. I don't think they got past him all that often. But he played okay. But overall, I still think he's the weakness in that side. So on Saturday's performance, I'd give him a 6.
Brad?
I already expressed this when I was talking about it beforehand. Maybe against West Brom, he gets another go. But I think Christensen is waiting in the wings to maybe even that percentage out. Chris, you can say what you like. Christensen bombs forward. Luke Thomas doesn't. He's a little bit nervous.
I'm not saying anything. I'm just...
Your face says it all, mate. Yeah, right. Your face says it all. Look, they attacked more down the right side than the left, so I can't really begrudge him for that. But I wasn't really enamoured. I don't remember a moment where I'm thinking, oh, yeah, Luke Thomas did really well then. And again, maybe it was something off camera that we don't get to see that Steve did. I'm giving him a 5, Chris. Because I feel like sometimes that left side, there was a big gap between where he was and our wing, our left forward was compared to the other side, where it felt like the support was more there.
And Tom's pretty much got that fence up in his front room and sitting on it. Jordan, mixed performance against Sacramento. He's definitely improving on the ball, which helps Leicester play out much easier at times. Does anybody want to have a guess at the rating that Jordan gave him?
6.
Oh,
you're spot on, both of you. Yeah, 6 indeed.
I like this quiz. I might actually win it.
You may do. Right, moving on to midfield. Here we go. Brad's love child. Mr. Soumaré. Steve.
6 for me with Soumaré. He linked up pretty well with Winks at times, but there's still that lacking of, I don't know what it is. It's like, he doesn't push forward as much as he probably should do. He's not as... My main issue. So at one point, Monga took on 2 or 3 players, and I thought, wow, and he saw him do that and thought, I'm going to have a go at that. And at one point in the Coventry, near the corner, he went to do a back heel, and it came off his shins and went out for a throw-in. And I was like, well, that sums up Soumaré, trying a little bit of fancy and gets it wrong. 6, he was okay, but he wasn't incredible.
Calm down, Brad. Calm down.
No, I call it even as it is. As much as I want to see him persevere here and do really well, he didn't pull up any trees for me. But he did have moments where he when he had the freedom of the space and he switched his brain off and was just told to go with it, he did have moments where he did seem to be there, and he was almost like the first call to rotate, to recycle the ball, because he was about in that, as you said earlier, I think it was you, Chris, it might have been you, Steve, apologies, who said he's more like that Ndidi role. He sits in that number 6 role, so he's he's about 40 yards away from the goal to recycle it instead of going back to our own half. I'm going to give him a 6 as well, though, because I just didn't remember too much from his game.
Okay, Jordan, too slow and relaxed on the ball at times, which isn't a bad thing. In the second half, he carried the ball through the centre well and helped City turn the defence into attacks. He gave Soumaré
a 6.
Yes. How did you know? Jordan obviously has 6 appeal.
Oh.
And we just scored you a 0, Chris, for that.
Yeah, Chris, you didn't hit that for 6, let me tell you.
This is what the crowd wants. You know what? We finally dragged Steve down to our level.
Chris bowled a ball, and it was a no ball as he saw the stumps go flying because he thought he hit one. Killed a bang.
Winks, first start, I thought you did really, really well, Steve.
Yeah, I as his number is number 8. He was an 8 for me. I think he was great on the ball. He played the pivot role really well. He set up a lot of the beginning of the attacks, and was quite sort of cool and collective. So his best performance so far of the season for me, an 8.
8, fair play, Brad.
This was more a performance. I know we saw him more integrated with the players and the fans at Oxford, but this was the performance that you wanted to see, and I asked for when he had his head up his own arse in the Huddersfield game. I am Iran. I said it, and he's done exactly what I asked him to.
Well, he does watch the show,
I know he does. He actually texted me saying, "Cheers for that, Brad. I'm going to get on with it and sort my life out." But yeah, no, reassured. That pivot role, he plays well. He played a few vital balls into our attacking areas to get us on the front foot throughout the game. I liked it. It was a 7, because I'm going to hold my my other higher ratings for.
Yeah.
I can remember the matches actually.
Here's Jordan. Brought more control into midfield and constantly urged teammates to be calm. Leicester looked so much better with him in their midfield. And he got a
7.
yes.
No, I've lost the quiz again. It was only guessing numbers, for God's sake.
Brad loves the quiz. Unfortunately, quizzes don't love Brad.
I'm better at writing the questions than I am answering them, I'll tell you that much.
Give up, Brad. Give up. Although I'm not sure whether Steve's cheating here and has actually got the ratings up or not.
I haven't. No, I haven't. I had the option earlier, but I thought, no, I'm going to leave it and I'm going to have a guess.
Good. That's what I like. Well done, sir. You get the trophy this week, and you also get to talk about Jordan James, JJ number 3. 4.
I give him an 8 again. He was great in that attacking midfield role. I think he could have done better with one of his chances where he hit it straight at the keeper. I think if he had hit it to either side, he would have scored. Overall, I won't say that just yet. I'll wait until the end. But I think as a midfielder, he's exactly what we need in this team. He's full of energy. He doesn't stop running, and he likes a tackle. So yeah, on the performance against Coventry, he's everything we needed. So yeah, 8. Annoying that I can't put a point in there, but just an 8.
Just an 8 with an asterisk.
Yes.
You're allowed asterisks. Brad?
Again, not real assured. If you've listened to what he said since he signed and he's continued to say, the way he's buying into the manager's mantra and his way of thinking, the impression he's trying to leave on us. Ron, take notes. That's how we tackle. Look, he looks like he's already ready to move in, get a house sold, come to Leicester and breathe, the air of Leicestershire and Blue Brick. Yeah, he can breathe if he wants. He's up to him. His lifestyle's up to him. We won't let him begrudge him breathing if he wants. Anyway, we'll cut that out. We're not live. It's all right. I like the performance. I think he's only going to get better and improvement. I agree with him. I think once the goals come, he'll be more confident in his shooting ability because he had that really good chance that was very well saved by the Coventry keeper. Then he had one that he probably should have buried after that, or given how that chance went. I'm going to give him an asterisk 7 because I just couldn't tilt over to an 8 because there was periods when he wasn't involved in the game, and obviously he did come off as well, which kind of probably killed us a little bit in that momentum area. There's 7 asterisks, please, Chris. And 3 from the bottom. Play countdown.
So is it to not open the door? Everybody rushes through.
Yeah, well, you suggest it. It's your own fault now.
I'll give you a bonus point to get level with Steve. Here's the 4th JJ that we've had at the club.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Can you name them?
James Justin, Julian Joachim. It's easy for me to say, apparently. Obviously, This is now the other JJ. You said there's a 4th one.
Yes.
Is it a youngster, the Joseph guy? Joseph something or other. I can't remember his name.
Is it Jordan Joseph or?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. I know there was a youngster in there.
He's on loan at Tranmere at the moment, I believe.
Yeah.
Yes, he is. Yeah. I think he even scored as well. Or wasn't? I saw him on the video printer. I don't know if he got scored. Maybe he got sent off. I don't know. But yeah. Yeah, there you go.
2-0 to you then, Steve. Well done, sir. Well done.
I named them all. Sod off.
You didn't name Jordan Joseph.
I said there was a Joseph out there. I said I didn't know his first name. Yeah, sod off. My point.
Sorry, bro, you can't get 0.5s anymore. It's not allowed. So it's just.
Oh, you can't get half. I'll tell you what. 2 and an asterisk then. How about that? Yeah. Dodgy Chris. Dodgy Chris. Were you giving?
You could up your ass.
I'm just wondering if you were giving him one of them, Steve, before the show started. Is that what it was?
I have to say, because Kate's brilliant and she really, really knows her stuff. And she came on the post-match when she was leaving the ground, and she actually said she named 3 of them. She said, "Oh yeah, because this is our 3rd JJ." I said, third, which went, yeah, James, Justin, and Joseph. And I said, yeah, what about Joachim? And she'd forgotten, so I got one over on Kate, and I don't very often do that.
Isn't it Joachim as well? It's not
well, apparently, if you are, who's the guy that used to manage Spurs, curb crawler that we got? We hated him. He was at Filbert Street. He was manager of Leicester, but before that he was manager of Spurs. But he got sacked because he got a scandal that he was curb crawling.
Oh, it might be just before my time, Chris. I'm afraid.
You're gonna have to give me an area.
I thought one of you two would sort of, would know that with your activities.
I'm a happily married man. Thank you very much.
I'm a happily separated man. I'm just going to leave it at that. Somebody in the chat help me out here, because when he, I think he was doing the co-commentary on the Swindon playoff final, and he calls him Joachim.
Oh, okay.
A bit like you called Ryan Bertrand. Because
Hi, Brad. Do you not know that he was half French, Bertrand?
Yeah, because as soon as the season started, his legs gave up on him.
Yeah, Tom, brilliant. David Pleat, that was it.
Yeah, that was
to do with JJ's.
Yeah, I can't remember Pleat. I would have been like 4 or 5 at the time. So yeah,
he wasn't even born.
Fuck off, both of you. That's what I'm saying.
Just because you was in your 40s.
So I was speaking to Jack the other day. He doesn't remember dial-up internet because he's too young for it, and I'm like, go fuck yourself. Yeah, exactly.
All right, sure.
That played with the dial-up internet. So,
oh god, that hurt.
His first PlayStation was PlayStation 2, and I'm like, oh my god.
You didn't.
I was watching last night, and I was only channel hopping, but it was on one of the 5 channels. They have about 6 channels, Channel 5, and it was Dara O'Brien, and he was talking about space because he's a scientist in his other life, and they were showing these playing these noises that the telescope at Jodrell Bank had picked up over the years, and one of them was exactly the same as that dial-up internet tone. In fact, even he said, for those people out there of a certain age will recognise that noise.
It almost feels like that noise now is like a dog's whistle. Only the certain generation can hear that noise because they don't.
Yeah. Usually there was another noise that used to come along with that, which was my wife going, "Get off the fucking internet! I want to ring my dad."
Yeah, can I just explain to him that, like, if you were on the internet and somebody got a phone call, it would cut you off, and he was like, "No, I don't remember that," and I'm like, "Okay, no."
Did it? I always thought it just got them engaged.
No. So it used to cut us off the internet when we were on it. So,
right.
No, you said it got them engaged. I was thinking, no wonder there's a load of early marriages and divorces.
Anyway, welcome along to all our yesterdays. Let's get on. James, which Jordan went for. Tidy performance on his first start for the club. A threat going forward with the right blend of awareness to track back and press. Really encouraging performance. Want to guess what he gave?
8?
6.
Oh, Brad, it was your chance for redemption. 7.
Yeah.
I didn't want to brave it because he's never normally that optimistic when he says.
You know what, Brad? You just fucking shit at quizzes on you.
No. It's been a horror week for me. It's been really hard.
Monday.
Yeah, I know. God help us. You got the number for the Samaritans, mate?
I'll get a dial-up internet one here in games.
Talk to me, Steve, about Mavididi.
So I give him a 5 because you can't fault his determination to get on the ball. He didn't shy away. He was still attacking, but clinical finishing is not his mainstay, and that's the 3rd time this season where he's been through on goal and he's not finished them because he doesn't have a left foot, which is the biggest issue. My big problem with him is that he takes too long with the ball, with the step overs, and he slows it down too much. He does so when he gets on the ball and he does a step over, he then has to pass it back because the defender's got back in play and he can't push down the left because he doesn't have a left foot. He'll get a lot of hate and has got a lot of hate for what he did at the weekend with the shot that he should have taken a touch for and finished. But that's a player with no confidence. And I feel like he will start against West Brom on Friday because if you drop him after that performance, he won't come back from that. I think that'll be it for his career at Leicester. So I give him a 5. He did okay, but he needs to be a lot more clinical in front of goal.
You know what pissed me off? That I have been screaming at Mavididi to actually take a shot first time. Stop pissing about and try to, beat an extra defender when you've already beaten 2, or try and get it on your left foot. If you've got a chance, boot it. And when he does, he boots it straight at the fucking keeper. Bad.
Yeah, I felt sorry for him throughout this game because we've been asking him almost as if we were his manager. We were saying he needs to be doing this more. He needs to be trying to be more fronted. And he kind of reminds me of Harvey Barnes. I can't remember which season it was, but we were always saying, oh, well, he's too busy crossing the ball in. He needs to be cutting in more. Oh, he's cutting in more. He's not giving us a wide option. Oh, we should shoot more. Oh, and we could never be satisfied with what we were seeing from Harvey Barnes. And I haven't seen too much of a fallout for it. I will say, if Daka misses that chance, the internet's broke. The internet's broke with absolute slander and hatred towards it. So I kind of feel like you got to give, you got to take. But that camera cut was a little bit painful to look at because it seems to be a new thing now. And there obviously wasn't a crying child in the crowd. So they went to Mavididi because he looked absolutely wretched of confidence. He must have been thinking, I've cost my team 3 points. I'm fucking this, I'm that, I deserve all the boos, blah, blah, blah. And he's confident. He's the one player that still just hasn't been able to find it. And he tried so hard to get his confidence in a goal or do something inspiring in the game, and it just didn't work. Sympathetically, I want to give him a 6, but I have to agree with Steve and give him a 5.
Yeah, I also feel like with Steffi is that he knows that there's a young lad waiting in the wings and he can't stifle that development. And then also with what Marty said about he could have a read a couple of weeks ago on the Radio Leicester interview, that's 2 players that can take his position. And if that does happen, if Bobby Reid starts or Monga starts and Mavidi's on the bench or not even in the squad, he'll find it very difficult to come back from that. And I think the next time we see him, if that does happen, is an FA Cup game. And at that point, you might as well say, sorry, mate, you're not part of the plans here going forward. And I do think we've probably seen the best of Mavididi 18 months ago with Enzo. I don't think we'll get anywhere near that level again.
And if you are feeling down or you feel you need help like Brad is at the moment, there's a banner below is the telephone number for you. There's the one in there.
You know what, Chris? Just to make yourself feel better. If Leicester get a point per game, how many points will I have in 4 seasons?
You can throw that back at me as many times, mate.
Now I'm off camera because I need to have a cry. All
right. I got 5 out of 5 in the quiz you set me.
Yeah, I had favouritism on that, and now I'm never going to do that again after this week. Anyway, it's going to be like who scored the Leicester's winner in the 1866 game against Norfolk.
Yeah, but I can tell you how many offsides Jamie Vardy got in his last season. Steffi Mavididi from Jordan says, once he got into the game, he looked close to his normal self. He would be kicking himself that he didn't do better with the 2 chances he had either side of half time, especially the one before the hour. He gets a 6.
A 6?
A 6.
I mean, mine was sympathetic, and I didn't give him in the end, but the 6 is ridiculous.
He gave him the same score as Harry Winks, right?
Yeah.
No, he gave Winks 7.
Oh, no, it's the same as the centre-backs.
Yeah, and Samara, is it a 6? Is it a 6? He gave him a 6.
Yeah. That's a joke, isn't it?
Somebody take his laptop away from him.
Told you, I'm not the only one. I'm really glad you asked Steve to come on the show with me, Chris. Now I've got my defence with me.
You've got a friend, Brad. We've got a friend in you. Right. You're making Brad feel a lot better here, Steve. Mr. Fataroo.
7, I think he was in and out of the game. He was our main threat down that right-hand side. He linked up well, but I could tell that he was getting frustrated because he tried that cut inside and shot that he likes to do a couple of times, and it didn't come off. And then there was a couple of times where, most notably the Hamza one, where he had a chance at the end and didn't shoot. He passed it. Abdul sort of pointed at him and was like, "What are you doing?" And then with the Daka situation where he fell over, he walked away, and I don't know if it was on the TV cameras, but Abdul just went like that. You know, you can tell that he was really frustrated. So overall, he did okay. Not his best performance, but a 7.
A 7. Brad?
Yeah, it was one of them that he kind of seemed to burn out the game the longer it went on. He was brilliant for a good spell of that. Like I said, all he seemed to do every time we got the ball is go, "Ha, you're slower than me. What's this? Knobhead." Ball 10 yards in front of him, went, had him on toast. Once we kind of got into that 60-odd minute mark and we hadn't got the goal, and Frank had crapped himself and made Coventry go defensive of 2 back lines of 4, he struggled to really affect the game. And he tried his usual trick of drive inside then and have shots where I try and curve the corner. This week they didn't come off. But it has to match his shirt number. It was a very solid 7. It was just, unfortunately, he did fade away.
Jordan says, looked up for it from the first minute and gave Josh De Silva a tough game throughout, forced Rushworth into some routine save, but constantly wanted to be a threat, but unfortunately wasn't always. He gets a 5.
Yeah, take the piss.
You're worse than Mavadini. You're lying. There is no way that. Not a chance.
See, this is a rookie mistake you've done there.
Chris, you devious bastard.
He's done that to you. Look, line and sinker you there.
He did it last week, didn't he? And he didn't get us last week, so we had to try again this week.
Yeah.
Gone fishing. No, he got a 7. He got a 7. Now, this is going to be interesting. Jordan Ayew, Steve.
6. Yeah, the issue with Jordan is that he played well. Don't get me wrong; like he does certain things really well, but there are also times where he falls over so easily and doesn't get the free kick, and he looks really shocked, and that annoys me. He's never in the box when you want him in the box, and there was a moment where Abdul and JJ were breaking free of the Coventry defence, and we needed somebody in the box to be there to pass the ball to, and Ayew was still in the centre circle, and I'm like, mate, you can't be there. You're slowly walking to the the box. Get it, bust a gut. I know he's got a little bit of a gut, but bust a gut into that box, mate. So I think 6 is fair. It wasn't his worst game, but look, I feel like we need somebody up front that's going to stay up there.
Well, exactly, and this is my problem, because I sort of said at the start of the season that Ayew was going to be the main star. We didn't have anybody else at that point, and he can hold the ball up, blah, blah, blah. Now we've got Carranza in. Look, it's not the fact that I don't think he wants to run forward. He's just of an age where he can't run forward. Yeah. Unfortunately, the one striker that we've got that's got some speed can't fucking stay on his feet or hit the ball. What I do want let's see what Brad gives him, first of all.
I'm inclined to agree a lot with Steve. I think he's taken on all the roles and attributes that Jamie Vardy tries to give us in terms of pressing the back line, being a bit of a nuisance, holding on to the ball. But his 2 biggest flaws are Jamie Vardy could run from the halfway line and get through on goal, and he'd still cause defenders nightmares. When Jordan Ayew tries to do that, the crowd have gone home. The groundsmen are on the pitch. They're saying, come on, get off the pitch, because I'm halfway there. He's just not got that pace. I've got to give him a 6. And I worry that maybe in January, Jordan goes if he falls right down that pecking order. If Carranza...
I don't think he will fall down the pecking order. I think Carranza will be the the number one choice. When he came in, because Vardy was there, he knew he wasn't going to be number one choice. He's taken on the number 9 shirt, which I think is a very good move from him, because whoever comes in, and it happened to be Carranza, if he was number 9, it would always be, Carranza isn't Jamie Vardy, and Jamie Vardy, he may well get anyway, but I think it was a brave thing for him to take on that number 9 shirt.
I just worry if that number 10 role's got so many players available for it, and Marty decides to go Carranza Daka.
He is on the way out, though. Like you say, he's in the last year of his contract, so... What I'm going to say, though, is that he was my man of the match. And the reason...
You have to score Jordan.
To that, then. He was my man of the match. And the reason he was my man of the match is because of this. This is his team map. Now...
That's his capital bag map, isn't it?
Where he... No. Where he is, that is our goal. So he's sort of based at our goal. The far end, the top is Coventry's goal. Now, I will agree that you don't want your striker to be doing that. You know, you want to see your striker up as much as you can. And as Tom says a lot, you need when we're defending corners, have a striker on the halfway line. Yeah. Because it occupies 2 of their defenders, and it just, makes it easier for us in the box. You also want a defender that, if it's booted upfield, can run after it. And I said that isn't that's not his game. But when you look at the work rate that he puts in, like I say, look how much he's in our sort of 6-yard box, and he defended a couple of corners well and headed out. But he is a striker. But look, you can't knock his work rate, and when you look at where he was on the pitch, fucking hell.
Yeah, I mean, you can't knock his work rate, but also I would criticize Marty here and say, why is he still giving him 87, 88 minutes a game? If you're looking for somebody to break the lines, you need to make that change earlier. You can't have Patson Daka come on for 2 or 3 minutes and hope that he's going to do the job. If you need to see some actual change, you bring him on for 60 minutes and play him with Carranza in the 2. And hopefully that changes it up, because he's just not quick enough, and it's really frustrating to see.
Yeah, no, I totally see that, and I think with the the West Bromwich Albion game on Friday, the Wrexham game on Tuesday, I think we'll see Carranza start one of those, and then he likes Daka to bring Daka on at the end, because yes, he has got that space. He doesn't pace, so he's got big space while he won't be between his ears. But
it's a make-a-wish sort of thing, isn't it, for Daka when he comes on for 5 minutes? It's like you got to give the dying kid a couple of minutes to help.
but you've also, he will run at a defence, and he will, like you say, worry them. He's got the speed. Jordan, frustrated at the quality of some balls played to him, but didn't stop working, was perhaps too slow at times when Leicester needed to be quick. For the second time tonight, you all agreed he gave a 6 as well. Now, going on to the subs, guys, we're not going to talk about it. I just want a score from you. So we are on the edge here. Jeremy Monga, Steve.
7.
Brad?
7 asterisks.
7. And he got a 6 off Jordan. Who knew? Carranza, Steve.
6.
Brad?
6.
He got a 6 off Jordan. Hamza Chowdhury.
5.
Brad?
5.
Oh, look at you getting into Jordan's knickers there. He's got a 5 as well. So you've all agreed. 4 times you've all agreed. Daka, not put Daka at a score because he was hardly on. Do either of you guys want to give him a score? Was he on long enough for you?
One opportunity, where he slid in rather than shooting properly. I give him a 4. I don't think he was on long enough, but his shot was terrible.
I think it's better rate someone who doesn't have at least 5 or more minutes to do anything.
You scored, Brad.
I'm not giving him 1.
You're not giving him 1. No, that's fine. Okay. So that was Daka there. Cifuentes, again, just a score here, if you can, please.
7.
Brad?
I'm giving him an 8.
Yeah, and I will kind of agree. We don't obviously get a rating off him from Jordan, but I would probably agree with you. I think he did well. This time last year, I think we'd have conceded and lost the game. Overall team performance, like you, Alan goes to the match for us, and he gives us the team rating overall and his man of the match. And the team rating, he gave them a 6. Would either of you guys argue with that? I think that was pretty much a.
I would say 7, but it's 7 really. More just because I felt we nullified Coventry so well. It might not have been easy on the eye and looked how we wanted to go about it, but 6-7, yeah, it's pretty even.
That's fair.
Yeah. I actually went 8.
We didn't win though, so you can't be an 8.
Yeah, that's
the win. No, it's the performance. You can have a good performance and lose. The ball could go in off FaZe's arse. But
Yeah.
89% of the time. I just think that with Coventry being who Coventry were and coming, and the fact that it's a local derby, so you got that little bit in there as well. I still call it an East Midlands derby. I've got to say, I just think we played well. We nullified them. We didn't let them have that as many shots as they might have wanted. And for a team, like I say, going back, for a team that scored 12 in 2 games to not score, I think was really, really good at the defence. So, yeah, that's why I went an 8. But I had a drink. Man of the match. Helm, Steve. Oh my God! One day I will get. You're gonna have to change Helm to Steve. I'm sorry.
Call me whatever. I don't mind. It is.
Yeah. Brenda,
me,
man of the match.
Yeah, JJ for me. He was outstanding.
Ooh. Brad,
for a solid performance and being defensively strong, I'm going to give it to someone I give a lot of slack to in the Oxford game for his lack of pace. That's Vestergaard.
Ooh.
Shored up in a clean sheet. You can't say nothing about a 34-year-old defender doing that at this level. It's almost like there's an ex-Wolves and Leicester player who can't defend in this division.
Kate and Alan both agreed. I went for AU. Did Jim and Wayne and Wayne's brother Brian, so I wasn't alone on there before you have a shout at me. But the official man of the match given by Alan was actually Harry Winks.
Who did Kate go for?
Winks.
Ah, fair, yeah.
And it was between him and AU for me, because I do think he does bring something to the game.
Yeah, I'm going to change it. I am going to pick Harry Winks because actually I feel like he was the most.
No. Once it's out, once I've written it down, you can't.
With an asterisk of Harry Winks.
Honorable mention is how you save that one, Steve. That's how you save that one.
Yeah, we used to have a couple of seasons ago, we had honourable mention. But we couldn't always pick a bloody man of the match. But yeah, I went the same. I went AU / Winks. I went that way. But there we go. And that, ladies and gentlefolk, is it. Thank you very much, Doris. Thank you very much, Brad. You did say I could call you what I wanted.
He's very literal, is our Chris?
Yeah,
I am.
Can't say otherwise.
We'll be back at 9 o'clock when we're actually going to be reviewing, not in as much detail as that, obviously, the whole, all the matches. There's one being played tonight. Have they kicked off yet? Tonight?
No, 5 minutes, I think, at 8 o'clock.
Oh, is it an 8 o'clock kickoff? Yeah. Right. So, and all I will say on the prediction league is I started off really well and I got 3 points on Friday night. And then after that, I got fuck all. So
Chris, this will cheer you up. Guess who got 0?
Craig.
Me.
You? No. Yes. Get in. Bring it home. Go on.
I thought I'd wait to the lowest view count to bring that out. I wasn't doing it when we was at 20, nearly 30 viewers.
It's at the top of the bloody league table, giving it large.
Liverpool City, you had one job to save my blushes and at least give me a point, and no, they folded like a fucking origami.
Oh, I don't know. Leicester can lose on Friday now. That's what I wanted to know. Guys, thank you very much. Have a great night. We'll be doing West Brom Albion this time next week, and I don't know what we'll be doing about Wrexham because it fucks me up when they have a midweek game. But thanks very much. Take care, guys, and I'll see you all soon.
Take care. See you later.
Cheers. Thanks to the guys there, really do appreciate it. And I'll be back, like I say, 9 o'clock tonight. Be there, I'll be square. I'll be there with Tom. I'm doing like I say, the championship preview, just make it a little bit different and how it affects Leicester going forward. And then we're back tomorrow with Fox's Forum. Like, subscribe, share, do all that shit. If you're watching live, thank you very much. And if you're watching on catch up, brilliant, do it as well. And if you're listening via your podcast platform of choice, tune in, and thank you for lending us your ears. I will see you in 64 minutes. 63 now. See you then. Good night.
Thanks for watching. These videos are tremendous. You better like them too, or I'll be back.
This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network. TalkSport. Powered by fans.
That will conclude this evening's entertainment.